No, not his last fight. But he had something. He had.
Stop that over. We gonna chop that up.
Not just reset. Don't cut. You cut.
Something's in my throat. I should have drank first.
You still rolling, right?
Ready?
Rolling.
Right. Some things in my
Reset.
throat.
3, 2, 1. Go.
We from Brooklyn, we're scrapping, it's part of life. So we happen to be the type of journalists to start a fight. I was raised in Gleason's, I was in the precinct, but I beat the case with my sweet peak defense. You drinking if you think you beating us. If I have to, I'ma put on Margarito's gloves. Don't do it. I'm in the bar place like I own it. What you expected? The way I seized the moment, they thought I was epileptic. The fight game can't survive without me. I throw shots that make fighters spit out their mouthpiece. Never days off, only days on. I represent the hood like I'm Trayvon. These moments in boxing are so proper, like when Floyd told Oscar he beat his whole roster. It's our action that speaks the loudest. Though we the sweet scientists, there ain't nothing sweet about us.
It's your boy Ak.
And this is Barack, the boxing bully.
We are the Sweet Scientists on ThisIs50.com, and today we're giving you a special show, the wrap-up show for 2017, but live from world-famous Philippe Chow, New York City.
A shout out to Merchants Hospitality.
Yeah, they made all of this happen, and we're here at the exclusive wine cellar. This is where all the celebrities come eat. Rihanna, Jay-Z,
Ak, Barack.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really get down here unless you're somebody important. So we're here.
Right, and we got a hell of a show for you today. We're gonna wrap up the whole entire year of boxing in about 30 minutes.
And we're gonna give you our 12 favorite moments in 2017, in and outside of the ring. So let's get right into it. We're gonna kick it off with number 12. Now in 2017, there were a lot of shocking, unexpected moments that happened.
Right.
Like Teddy Atlas, after 21 years, on-air talent, live broadcaster, was removed from his job at ESPN.
Maybe he's a little too aggressive, or maybe he was just keeping it real. Who knows?
Also, Chocolatito Gonzalez being knocked out in the 4th round. A guy that we all felt had a chin of steel.
He had a lot of wars.
But one of the most shocking moments for me, in my opinion, and that's why I chose it as number 12, was pound for pound king at the time, Top Dog, okay, whom at the time beat who they called the boogeyman, not once but twice. And the second time in dramatic fashion, at the age of 32 years old, at the top of his game, decorated amateur, Olympic gold medalist, Andre Ward retires.
Wow. That's a moment in itself. I mean, I think that was even more shocking than him beating Kovalev in the fashion that he beat him.
Right.
He stopped him, and no one thought he was going to stop him, even though he predicted a stoppage. But retiring...
Well, speak for yourself. I picked Andre Ward to stop Kovalev in the second fight. And
you know when he picked that? He picked that around the 5th round, 5th, 6th round. That's when he picked it.
After the fight was over. But in any case, look, for some odd reason, I really believe Andre Ward. I really feel that he's going to be one of the guys that's not going to come back. I mean, we see him on HBO now, articulate, well-spoken. I think he's going to thrive in a broadcasting field. But I feel robbed as a fight fan. I think he's so skilled and such an anomaly that I want to see more of him. I want to see him down the line against a Triple G. I want to see big fights down the line.
Hold on. Something a little more important.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry, Andre, but number 12 is over because we have chicken satays.
Duck scrambles, some duck sauce.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Philippe.
That is not Philippe.
Oh, that's not Philippe?
No,
okay, I'm sorry.
This
He
guy
looks like a Philippe.
He thinks everybody's name
looks
is
like a
Philippe.
Philippe.
He does kind of look like Philippe. Listen, I don't know, man. I want to take a break, but we're going to have to do this show because we got to be out of here at a certain time. You know, it's like Barack said, Beyonce is outside waiting to sit here.
They actually don't know we're here, you know?
Yeah.
No, but Andre Ward, we definitely respect his opinion, his decision. I think that, at first I thought that he wouldn't retire. I thought that he felt like retiring, but he would get that itch. But then when I heard him put it as, this is a tough challenge, and this is the hardest challenge of my life, I realized the kind of person he was.
Right.
Somewhat of a perfectionist, someone who takes on every single challenge. And since this is a challenge for him, I think he's going to actually accomplish it.
And it seems like it's the biggest challenge of his career, according to him, where he didn't expect to maybe miss the sport so much. Maybe you be away from the gym. You know, guys like that been fighting, say, with 7, 8 years old. They're gym rats. They're used to being in that gym. But you know what? Kudos to him for leaving with all his faculties. And it almost seems like Andre is becoming more popular outside the ring. His Instagram following is going up. He's doing deals here and there. So kudos to Andre. If we don't see him again, unfortunately for the fight fans, but God bless him and his family.
Okay, now we're up to number 11, most memorable moments for Sweet Scientists. And for this particular one, it's an anomaly because you're talking about Errol Spence. We're talking about Errol Spence traveling all the way out to the UK. Something that most fighters don't do. Why? Because of the judging is a little sketchy out there. So it's an anomaly because he's one of the very few fighters that before he even fought a credible opponent, he was damn near put on a pound-for-pound list. So he traveled all the way out to the UK and dealt with at the time, he was the quote-unquote the best welterweight around.
Who's very popular in the UK.
Absolutely.
So
and he handed him his first beating.
But wait, hold on. All right. So let's not act like Kell Brook didn't have some good moments in that fight. It wasn't a wash. Errol Spence didn't steamroll Kell Brook, but he did break his eye socket like Triple G did.
And didn't make him quit. So I don't think we remember the moments when he landed some shots. We remember what happened.
Be nice to Kell Brook.
All
right, he whooped his ass.
I love Kell Brook too, but this is one of our moments. It's number 11. Kudos to our man. He's not from Brooklyn, but he got that Brooklyn swag.
And he's friend to the room.
Absolutely, and that's Errol Spence for going all the way to the UK and handling business like a fighter should.
One time for Errol Spence. Number 11, best moment of 2017. Let's get right into number 10, who, in my opinion, it could actually be another title. It could be breakout fighter of the year, even though this particular fighter was already middleweight champion of the world at the time. Decorated amateur, big middleweight, but many didn't even think he would get past the 5th round against the Kazakhstanian knockout artist. Our number 10 moment is Daniel the Miracle Man Jacobs losing a questionable decision against Gennady Gadaevich Golovkin, Triple G.
I have to admit that on my scorecards, which is very unofficial, I had Danny winning.
So did I.
I had him winning 8-4, and if it was 7-5, if I was lenient, then it would have been a draw because of the knockdown.
I mean, it was a great moment for us. I mean, we were doing a post-fight show live at SiriusXM where we also host, and I can't remember the last time me and Barack were excited because this is a guy that's a friend to the show,
yes.
You know, personal little friend of ours. And we weren't trying to be biased, but we saw Daniel Jacobs winning that fight. And at the end of the sound of the bell after the 12th round, I knew that it probably wouldn't go his way. But in my heart's heart, I agree with you. I thought Daniel Jacobs pulled that fight off.
Either way, it was a moment. Either way, it was an incredible moment where someone stepped in the ring and ended his knockout streak and ended it in a great fashion.
Now, a lot of people on social media, on my social media, Boxing with Ak, they hammered me. Oh, you're biased. You know Jacobs. You've hung out with him. That's why you're saying it. But watch the fight round by round and score the fight by rounds. Now, I'm not saying that Danny, won a clear victory. Obviously, Triple G's a hell of a fighter, and a lot of those rounds were hard to score.
Right.
Whether I'm biased or not, the fight was a close fight, and I feel like Daniel Jacobs, like I said, though he was a champion at the time, I think that was his breakout fight. I think that's when the people in the boxing world and some casual fans said, this guy's the real deal. He could compete with anybody in the world. So that's our number 10 moment, Daniel Jacobs. Yes, I'm cutting my chicken satay.
You're cutting it with the knife, but you're using the chopstick with the other hand.
This is something new. You ain't up on to see you ain't that fancy. You thought you were.
Actually, I'm not. I usually let my butler feed me. You understand? She Now it's a she. I just said butler. Listen, more importantly is number 9. Number 9, Sweet Scientist, most memorable moment of 2017. And that involves 2 of the greatest amateurs of all time, Loma Chenko versus Guillermo Reagan. Now, it's not the actual fight itself that is one of the moments that we chose. It's actually the signing of the fight. On paper, what it looked like. The reason why is because it was legendary stats before it even started. So when the fight was made, we all lost our mind as boxing fans. You're talking about 885 wins stepped into that ring.
All right, but let me give you the flip side to that, all right? Let's talk a little bit about that, all right?
Why'd you just... What was
That's
that?
what you
Bob
but
Arum?
I'm about to go in. That's my
That's a
little
nice
prep.
blazer, by the way.
Thank you. So, the fight was made, and at the time of the, when they started posting on social media, we were blown away. We were all excited because, arguably, I would say they're the greatest amateurs of all time in the history of the sport.
Absolutely.
4 Olympic gold medals between the both of them.
But wait a second. Who's the greatest amateur fighter? I think it's Reagan. Reagan won nothing but gold since the year 2000.
Right. And other Pan American games and
every world championship he won gold.
I
Let's
agree
just
with you.
at least get that clear. Reagan is the greatest amateur boxer of all time.
But let's not act like Bob Arum didn't make this fight at the perfect time. Okay, a few years ago when Loma was still at 126 pounds, there was opportunities for him to meet Reagan out at catch weight, who was at 122 pounds, who was younger and active. All right, Reagan wasn't active before that fight was made. He had one fight, I think, within a year and a half. 37 years old, and also moved up 2 weight classes. So it was an ideal situation for Lomachenko. Nevertheless, he did what he had to do. The fight was signed, and he shined, and he actually made him stop.
I don't want to take away the credit from Lomachenko, but I understand I understand what you're saying, but overall, that's our number 9 pick. The fight had a lot of excessive holding. It didn't really live up to the expectation. It wasn't a master boxer versus a master boxer. Well, it was, but it didn't look that way.
Agreed.
But the signing of it, the history of it before it even happened,
that was the moment.
That's a moment.
And that's your number 9 moment.
Sweet
2017,
scientist.
Sweet Scientist. All right, enough of Lomachenko, all right? Yeah, he's great. Let's get into number 8. Now, one of the things that's most impactful to me in boxing, when a not even a rising star, when a star in the sport, an undefeated star in the sport, is recognized as one of the best in the world and takes his first loss, it's impactful in the sport. And I'm gonna go with my number 8. One of the most important moments of 2017 in boxing is Danny Garcia taking his first loss. Now, before you say anything,
you just know.
I just know you're gonna have something negative to say.
Okay, as long as you know.
I think 2 things happen when a star takes his first loss. Some guys are never the same afterwards. Psychologically, they're beaten, and they really don't come back from that. And later on down the list, one of the guys that's on our list might be in that category. I think Danny Garcia is on the opposite side of that. I think that he's one of the guys that loss is going to make him better.
Okay. I love
your first story.
I love Danny Garcia, first off. I want to start by saying that.
So you're setting the palette up for what you're about to say.
I think he's a winner. I think he's a hell of a fighter. The problem that I have with this pick is we're talking about moments. I think it's just brilliant to carry.
Go ahead, say what you really want to say. Speak your mind.
I do. I always do. But I think that I think it's right to really focus on the winner, the one who actually unified the titles, which is Keith Thurman. That should be more of the moment. That should be more of a moment, not necessarily a fighter taking his first loss. That's true. That's a part of that moment. But the bigger part of the moment is winning 2 titles in a division that's fully loaded. Obviously, the most impactful division in
I think
all
Danny
boxing
Garcia was
right
a
now.
much bigger star than Thurman. I think more of an important moment is Thurman getting married and gaining 100 pounds. I don't know what part of the world he was in, but I don't know. First of all, that fight was close. Danny Garcia and Thurman, let's not say that it was a one-sided fight. It was close, went back and forth. Some people, very few people felt that
person.
No. But in any case, like I said, I think that was an important moment in boxing because we normally don't see that until later in their career, and I think that's gonna make him a better fighter.
I think so too.
And I think Danny in his next go round is fighting Brandon Rios. I think he's gonna wash him, and then he's gonna be ready to fight any guy in the 147-pound division.
I think most of the game is mental, and Danny's already posting, pictures saying I'm ready to take over the welterweight division. And
so this is Barack trying to clean up his mess because we have to spend some time around Danny Garcia. So
no, it's not that.
So that's your 8th favorite moment of the Sweet Scientist 2017.
Okay, we're gonna get right to it. Number 7. Hold up, while my butler pours my drink. Thank you.
Dirty cup.
You gotta follow me where I go. Number 7, most memorable moment, according according to the Sweet Scientist, Akim Barak. And that goes to Tevin Farmer. Not any of his boxing accolades. Actually, it's something that happened outside of the ring, and it involved a gunshot. It involved him being at a party, a family party, and getting shot in the hand. Now, the reason why this is a moment is because of two reasons. One, because of the heroic circumstances. He was trying to actually save family members from this person who had the gun. He actually reached for the gun and he was shot. Two is because what actually happened after that. After that, while he's rehabbing with a gunshot wound, the bullet went through his hand, his right hand, he signed a deal with HBO. Now this is, mind you, he's in a cast.
Not to mention that the doctors were telling him that he is not fighting no time
anymore.
this year.
Not at all. Really, they said he wasn't fighting anymore. And then after a while, they seen him rehabbing so well, they said, well, you definitely can't fight this year. But months later, he fought Ogawa for a title. Now that right there is a moment, because that's ridiculous. That is amazing.
I can't agree with you more. I knew that this had to make this list as
Right.
somewhere in the top 12, because that's astounding. Like, a guy to be shot, tore his bicep in a fight before he got shot.
Absolutely.
Doctors telling you would never fight again, and definitely not this year. Signing an HBO deal and fight for a world title. I mean, come on. There's no arguing that.
I also want to tell the people what they're not really privy to is that he's not at 100%. At that particular fight, I seen him maybe a couple of days before. He could make a fist, but he was maybe at like maybe 65, 70%. And I saw him maybe a week and a half before the fight.
Right. And truth is, during that fight, landing big shot, his hand was hurting. But the warrior that he is, finished the fight and obviously won the fight. We all know there's not even a blind person could see that Tevin Farmer won that fight. But I think he'll get his justice at some point, and he definitely will be world champion.
What we have to do as fans is we have to call for that rematch. So that's number 7, most memorable moment. Tevin Farmer getting shot in his right hand.
There you have it. Let's get to our number 6 moment. Now, this gentleman is the face of boxing, in my opinion. He's, 25, 26 years old?
27, maybe?
Still young as hell. Some people don't like his promoter for whatever reason. Some people hate on the young man because he, he's digging out all the bad chicks out in the Latin world. Whatever the case may be, in the ring, whether you like him in or outside of the ring, he's a warrior, he's a savage.
Right.
And number 6, still one of the best fighters in the world, in my opinion.
Right.
And he's top 3 easy, in my opinion. Canelo Alvarez. Saul Canelo Alvarez fighting Triple G. September 19th, was it?
Maybe 17th.
And who cares? The fight was being built. It took 3 or 4 years. People have been asking for maybe 5. I would say 4 at least. 4 years.
I say about 3 or 4, because the whole thing was like, this is not taking as long as
Right. 3 or 4 years. The fans complaining. I'm sick of the fans nagging about when the fight needs to happen. It happened when it was supposed to happen. And we were there live front center, ringside, to witness this battle. Canelo Alvarez versus Triple G is our number 6 Sweet Scientist's favorite moment of 2017. And why? The fight, I think that the reason why it wasn't so brutal is because both fighters are so skilled and showed the best of themselves in there, where they both had great moments. So it wasn't a Gotti Ward bloodbath, but you can obviously look at that fight and say these guys are 2 of the best fighters on the planet.
Absolutely. One of the things I took from that fight is that CompuBoxes should be irrelevant in a fight. I remember the first round, CompuBox had Triple G landing 15 shots, and I don't even think he really landed maybe 4.
And he lost that round easily.
Easily. And so even Max Kellerman was saying, I didn't see 15 shots landed. No. And you know what Jim Lampley said? I did.
Right.
Also, let's talk. Speaking about Jim Lampley, I love his style, but sometimes.
Do you like Jim Lampley? Because when we interviewed him in Vegas on Radio Row, he stood on his stool after we were done and he said, "Wow, you guys are good. Like, wait, you guys are real good. This was good." And then he got up after a few seconds.
Right.
I don't think he's ever said that to any other interviewers that he's been. But in any case,
that was an encouraging moment. But no, I like his style. Like, I like the way he dresses. I like his glasses. But his voice is the voice of boxing, hands down.
No question.
But we're all biased.
You always give a guy a bunch of compliments before you're about to say something negative about him. That's a good skill. Go ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Third round. Jim Lampley said that was a great round for Triple G. Soon as Triple G went back,
he was sleeping in that round.
Soon as Triple G went back to his corner, Abel Sanchez said, "Okay, we just gave up that round."
Well, I mean, Jim must. I can't see how the hell he just saw Triple G win in the third round. It was an obvious win for Canelo. That might have been the best round of Canelo's.
It wasn't the best
fight.
round, but it just wasn't.
It was one of Canelo's best rounds. He made him miss. He made Triple G miss so much in that fight. But more so, the moment in itself, the fight happening. Vegas was lit the whole week. I would say the fight lived up to the hype. Some people said it didn't. I beg to differ.
The only thing is that we always want a clear-cut winner. No one likes a draw. To me, what I think was the most popular moment from that fight was actually the build-up for the fight. Like before, when Canelo was fighting Cesar Chavez Jr. in Vegas after he dismantled him, they did like a WWE tribute. Like, it was amazing how they announced the fight. The lights was dark. Like, I got goosebumps. How he said, "Golovkin, you are next, my friend."
Yeah.
You know, that right there was the biggest moment, if you ask me. That would be my number 6.
Well, that is my number 6. Canelo's involved in that moment. He's the one that said that. So we can't deny it. Love it or hate it. To me, it was a hell of a fight, and it's worthy of being our number 6 top moment in 2017. Well, what's number 5?
Well, number 5 is easy. One of our friends, Deontay Wilder.
He doesn't text me. Speak for yourself.
His last fight against Thurman. That was a moment because, okay, we didn't actually want to see that fight. The boxing world didn't want to see that fight. Obviously, we wanted to see him against the Cuban,
Luis Ortiz.
But because,
which will happen soon.
Oh, absolutely. Maybe sometime in March. Who knows? But it didn't happen. So he fought someone he fought before. Now, the reason why this is a moment is because there was unanswered questions before that. What happened was he was the only one who stood the 12 rounds with him. And afterwards, after the fight, Thurman had to go to the hospital and got admitted for severe dehydration.
After the first fight.
After the first
fight. So that
fight.
was his excuse.
Right. You know, so with those excuses looming like that, it creates questions.
Right.
I think Deontay just smashed and answered every question. It was a theatrical kind of win. Like, even after the first knockdown, he kind of stood up like a superhero.
Some sort of like Spartan.
Some kind of superhero, like, I'm Mr. Wilder. I'm Super Wilder. You know, it was crazy.
It's a bit funny.
It was funny. It was just TV. Like,
I would say that
it was like a movie.
I would say surrounding all of that, I think that's actually the best moment.
That's what I'm saying.
That moment.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that created the moment.
Right.
All of those.
Which was that straight right hand and put Thurman on his ass.
All of those theatrics that involved the move, the basketball movement was phenomenal. The phenomenal.
I can do it. I can do it.
That was beautiful.
And then
boom, left hook
around.
That was beautiful.
Yeah. And then what about a lot of people talked about the tussle with the ref trying to get away from him.
Yo, when you're in the moment, you like, think about it. When you're in the moment, you're fighting, get the hell off me. I don't care who you are, my mama, anybody, get off me. Your mother might grab you in a fight, you'd be like, yo, look, and you're like, my bad.
Definitely a statement, and I think that helped build the potential Anthony Joshua fight down the line.
Absolutely, I think that made Wilder into a superstar, and it's gonna set up a next fight. It's gonna actually set up the Luis Ortiz fight better.
And speaking of Wilder, make sure you catch him on the channel E. His girlfriend has she's in the show, Wags Atlanta on the E channel. Deontay's actually been featured on that show. I think it's every Wednesday, so look out for Deontay Wilder.
Absolutely.
That's our number 5.
That's our number 5.
Scientist.
Absolutely.
I'm excited about number 4, man. Okay. Number 4. Now, this young man, he frustrates me at times only because he has so much talent in the ring, so much physical ability, and at times I think is the mental part that's not adding up with the physical ability. Friend to the room, friend to the show. Actually, he's a decent hip hop artist as well, who just dropped a project recently, a mixtape. One of the moments that stood out to me by Adrian Broner was on social media, him putting out a couple of posts that were a bit disturbing about him potentially wanting to kill himself. Subliminal suicidal messages. He didn't say, I am going to kill myself, but he posted a picture of a gun, a firearm, Then he posted things about people not being there for him being alone, nobody's there, things of that nature, which disturbed a lot of people. I think even Floyd Mayweather sent for him to come to Vegas at the time,
right,
to maybe console him, talk to him, and I think that has a lot to do with the people around you. Obviously, if he had decent people, not saying that everybody around him is bad, but if you have a certain amount of people that keep you whole in situations like that, I don't think he would have took it that far. So hopefully hopefully whatever, I don't know, Floyd instilled in him or other people that really cared about him, got him past that moment and he never goes back to that. He was in the ring recently with one of the best fighters in the world, Mikey Garcia. And listen, Broner had moments in that fight where you can see he has ability to beat a guy like Mikey. I just think mentally he wasn't there. But he lost to one of the best fighters in the world. So when people count Broner out, if he fights any guy at 140, 147, I think that's foolish, in my opinion.
I definitely agree with that. I think Mikey Garcia is beating basically almost everybody out there. But with Broner, I think the problem that occurs sometimes when you have money is that you don't really know the genuineness of your friends that are around you, the ones that were not actually bringing in money, maybe the ones that you're actually taking care of.
So that's why you act so nice around me? It's because of the money? I know.
Yeah, it's because of that jacket, you got the tag on it, so you got to return it, Don't dirty it.
I didn't want to tell the people that, but
it is what it is. We don't make but $9 an hour, so, But anyway.
I'm only at $8.50, but good.
Anyway, Adrian Broner, a hell of a talent, a lot of capability. I think that he's on that path of, getting better,
rebuilding himself mentally,
rebuilding his career, and physically and mentally, and maybe even spiritually. But I think that was just a tough time, you needed friends like that, like Floyd Mayweather and other friends who probably reached out, like 60-40, who reached out to him.
For sure, and shout to 40, who's friend to the room too. And that was our moment. One of the moments that stood out with Adrian Broner, wishing the best, and he'll be back in the ring. And I think down the line he'll definitely win some big fights.
You know what was most disturbing about that time? Because at that time, genuinely, we were praying for him.
Right.
If you read his comments, I mean, these people are like, go ahead, pull the trigger.
Right. Negative people.
Like, there's just a whole bunch of negativity. I mean, and this is a serious situation. You wouldn't want your family member, contemplating suicide.
And I think he's past that. But shout out to Adrian Broner, and that's our number 4 moment. 2017.
Here brings us down to the number 3 most memorable moment of 2017.
Hopefully a little lighter than number 4.
Absolutely. This involves just boxing, and it involves Anthony Joshua and Vladimir Klitschko. Hell of a fight.
Fight of the year by far.
Obviously. But there's certain aspects about it that I love. I love the fact that it was a competitive fight.
Indeed.
You had knockdowns on both sides, and then, hey, like usually happens, the younger guy wins. Right. Just like maybe in the Cotto situation, the younger guy wins, Saddam Ali. Right. But I think that was a moment because that was a real career-defining moment for Anthony Joshua. He answered, all of this is about answering questions. The questions was, is he really an elite fighter? He won a title from Charles Martin.
Right.
Did we really give him props? No. He beat other guys that, they were top 10, but they weren't of this caliber. Once he stepped in the ring with Klitschko, exactly.
No
Everything
question.
was answered. I think that with the heavyweight division, see, this is the thing. Truth be told, no one's looking for the next great middleweight champion. The whole world is not looking for the next great welterweight champion.
I never understood that, though. I never agreed.
I don't know why.
I think there's so many great fighters and so many
Absolutely.
Great classes.
See, boxing fans are, but we're talking about the whole world. Subconsciously and consciously, the whole world is looking for the next great heavyweight champion.
In my opinion, to cut this short, make a long story short, I think the reason why is because the polarizing figures of the heavyweight champions, like Ali's, like Tyson's, so that people resonate with that, and right away they think heavyweight champion because maybe the smaller weight classes, they weren't shined upon.
It's also the knockout ratio.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like the heavyweights have this natural ability to carry the sport no matter what. And that's their responsibility for a heavyweight to carry the sport.
Listen, and this is in no particular order, but that was a hell of a moment in 2017. Anthony Joshua versus Vladimir Klitschko. I think that's another breakout fighter because he answered the questions like you said.
Absolutely.
That's our number 3 moment. Number 2 moment. Right. This gentleman right here is obviously probably one of our closest friends in this sport, in terms of us speaking outside of the ring.
Real close to you, physically. When he was choking you out not too long ago.
Well, listen, that was just...
That's actually... Oh, that's the moment? Is that the moment you getting choked
First of all,
out?
I didn't get choked out. He caught me by surprise.
We just didn't play the whole
I
footage.
wasn't prepared for that. And you know, he's a fighter. You know, he's a guest in
He's a boxer,
He was
though.
a guest in our. He was the best boxer in the world.
But you
I
weren't
would say.
boxing. You guys were wrestling.
But, yeah, but he also is the best wrestler in the world. That's what I heard. I don't know. This guy.
I don't know. You kind of tried that with me in Vegas. You know,
Well,
I do what I do.
He's
though,
arguably
you know.
the best
I'm a
there
different
ever.
beast. Sorry, Crawford. I'm a different beast. I didn't mean to tap you out. You know?
Well, this guy just said his name. Terence Bud Crawford, unifying the 140-pound division, winning all titles, all
Right.
4 belts. It hasn't been done in I don't know how many years. Do you?
No.
Long time. And what really stands out to me is the manner that he wins these fights in, the dominance in the ring. People say we didn't know who Andango was.
Mandingo.
No, that's on your mind. I said Ndango.
Okay.
All right. And the Felix
Nintendo?
Diaz's of the world. You're still in Crawford's moment here, right? He's number 2.
My bad,
of
Crawford. Number
12
2.
moments.
Let's go.
Sweet scientist. Him
Let's go.
unifying the titles, dominating his division the way he did, and that's a hell of an achievement, winning all those belts. And obviously, he's the fighter of the year. We'll get to that down the line. But
Is he?
Terence Crawford? I mean, arguably, a lot of people felt like Lomachenko was.
Right.
But anybody can make a case. Some people said Anthony Joshua. You know, a lot of people said even Mikey Garcia. At the end of the day, I think the biggest accomplishment in the sport in 2017 was what Terence Crawford did by unifying those titles, having all 4 belts, and crushing his division, and now moving up to 147. That's our number 2 moment.
Definitely. I definitely agree with you. That was an incredible moment. Not many people
Unification.
actually stay in the division to unify, you know, and that was just great. And great friend of ours, very close to you since you guys like to wrestle on and off camera.
Well, it just happened one time.
When he choked you out.
They didn't choke me out.
Well, actually,
what
you know
happened
what? Shout out to old Lou. That was a beautiful edit. The way you made it look like Pac was kind of competitive, but
Olu's a unified champion in editing.
absolutely.
He
Editor
holds all
of
the
the year.
belts.
Editor of the year, especially on ThisIsPitty.com.
Yeah, he spared Crawford and not showing when I had him in the face forward lock. That's a new bar.
When your face was in his what?
All right, so number 1 coming up.
Number 1. Listen, it's no in particular order. Okay, yes it is, because we're saying it, you know, and that's all that counts.
I mean, our opinion is the only opinion that counts.
Listen, boxing bully. I'm not the only. We are all boxing bullies. What we say is over your opinion. Your opinion doesn't
If you
matter.
don't like it, say so.
Exactly.
When you see us ringside.
But number 1 is none other than Floyd Money Mayweather versus McGregor. Now, not just the fight, more so the tour. More so the press tour. That was incredible. I think
It was a little staged though.
I don't think it was staged. I think they
Well,
had
you're wrong,
limits.
it was.
I think they had limits.
Okay.
I don't think it was staged.
So there were guidelines.
There was guidelines. You know what I'm saying? I think there was guidelines. I don't think it was staged, but I think it did what it was supposed to do.
Okay.
What it did was it convinced people that, wow, this dude actually matched Floyd verbally, because the first match is always verbal and mental. So mentally, so he matched Floyd verbally like no other fighter ever in history has.
He's catchy, you know. His
Very witty guy, very witty, very funny guy. You know what I'm saying? He likes black women.
Yes.
I didn't like some of the stuff he said, you know, but
Did he sail off into the sunset, or is he never gonna? He made $100 million. Is he gone?
I don't know. I think him, Ricky Hatton, is like getting fat
I
together.
think
I
he's
have no
going
idea.
down that lane. But
No.
he made a lot more money than Ricky had. So
Yeah, he sure did. He sure did.
If he wanted to ride off into the sunset, he can do
He
so.
actually can.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it was a great press tour. A lot of people tuned into it. I think it made a lot of people think that this guy
Had
has
a
an
shot.
actual chance. And that's
That
why
was the
4.4
funniest part about the whole thing.
Exactly. That's why 4.4 million people actually bought the broadcast. But you know what? It was the most pirated show of all time.
Oh, indeed.
You know, so in actuality, probably 1 billion people watched that.
It was insane, and I agree with you. I mean, this whether you were upset about the fight, MMA fighter fighting a boxer, the best boxer in the world at the time. That's the biggest thing that happened this year in combat sports. Period.
Absolutely.
So
Right.
there's no way around it.
Whether
So
you like the fight or not. It
there you
doesn't
have it. So that's the top 12 moments of the Sweet Scientist 2017 in boxing. But before we go, you know, we got to give you, I guess, a Sweet Scientist.
Philippe, let's go. Let's go.
And we're still at Philippe Chow's world famous restaurant in the wine cellar. You know what I mean?
VIP status.
Yeah,
Sweet
Barack
scientist.
Obama had lunch here a couple of years ago.
Absolutely.
Right on this table.
Now the real Barack is here.
Before we get out of here, we're going to give you a little award show. 5 categories. Sweet Scientist, thisis50.com. Why not? We're going to start off with Upset of the Year. Barack and I battled with this option, with this, not category, I guess who we're going to pick to win this. He was mentioning a guy that I don't know. Caleb Plant? Oh, that guy's actually
Not
winning.
our friend Caleb Plant. It's Caleb
It's your
Truax. Caleb Truax, who actually fought James DeGale.
Anybody named Caleb should be nowhere on this list.
In the UK, another fighter that traveled all the way to the UK to fight.
Right.
But this guy actually won again. And he actually won a championship now. No one in the world was picking Caleb Truax to win.
All right, so
why is that not
let's
upset
get to the real upset of the year, which is Saddam
Yes.
Ali beating the great Miguel Cotto after he was being picked as an opponent, so Cotto can go out with a win and ride off into the sunset, retire his last bout with a win. And the Brooklynite, the young kid, shocked everybody in my opinion and won a convincingly unanimous decision against Miguel Cotto. I say the upset of the year is Saddam Ali versus Cotto.
Check this out. I think that gives Saddam Ali a disservice because he's a great boxer. He's an Olympian. Everybody knows from Brooklyn that he has amazing boxing talent. I gave him a chance.
Forget about what people thought.
You gave him a
What were people
chance.
saying? What was the narrative? What's the rhetoric
I understand
that people
that.
were pushing?
I understand that, but it was his swan song, right? He was supposed to go out with a win. I figured that he was going to lose. A lot of other people figured he was going to lose. I think
and
that's
the juggernauts of the world, of the boxing media world, were picking Miguel Cotto to win. This is why we are the juggernauts of boxing, because we knew this was going to happen.
Absolutely. But this is not my pick. You know, shout out to Boxing Memes. Shout out to Big E.O., our photographer. You know, the whole team. Shout out to Bless. Shout out to Dennis. Shout out to Eddie Khan.
Jeremy.
You know, shout out to Jeremy at This Is 50.
At
Because
50,
the whole
shout out to
team
50
is
Cent,
agreeing
Renee, Mary,
with
everybody.
this guy. So
Right, yeah.
I'm on the outskirts.
Let's get to number
year.
4. The robbery of the year. This happens every year, several times a year, as long as boxing been around. But there's absolutely no question. The biggest robbery this year was Tevin Farmer winning the 130-pound IBF title and getting stripped from, I can't pronounce the guy's
Against
name.
Ogawa.
Ogawa. How long did you practice to pronounce that?
7 months.
All right. Well, that's the robbery of the year. Goes out to Terence Crawford. He definitely won that fight. Number 3 award, which is Knockout of the Year. The Knockout of the Year. I say the most impactful and vicious knockout of the year.
Was Crawford when he knocked you out.
He never knocked me out.
Okay. That's the edit. According to the edit, he wasn't knocked out.
I got a beard on me. Trust me. Was it the rapper? What's his name?
Extension?
Extension. He
No.
got extended and laid out on stage.
All right.
No, that's not what happened. Am I lying?
Read the cue cards, bro.
That's not the knockout of the year. Knockout of the year is Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez being knocked out in the 4th round from, now this name
Hurt my heart.
none of us could pronounce. It took Jim Lampley at least 3 months.
He went to school. He went to a night class.
Yeah, you had to take a
Pronounce
class
that
to
name.
pronounce his name. Well, did you get it? Did you master it?
No, I did not, and I don't
All right.
care.
All right, so Chocolatito being knocked out in the 4th round viciously. That's
Knockout of the year. That was
knockout of the year.
That was horrendous.
Fight of the year. Do we need to even have a discussion about this?
Fight of the year?
No question. Anthony Joshua
Absolutely.
versus Vladimir Klitschko,
Absolutely.
the legend.
Compelling, competitive, knockdown for knockdown. The young lion takes it in the end. It gets no better than that. That is pure boxing story.
And for the last award, Sweet Scientist Fighter of the Year. It has to go to Kanan from Power. Saving
He's
Lil
fighting
Tariq.
everybody. Killing his son. He killing everybody.
You can't wait to season 5.
Kills the
Let's go
cousin.
for that outstars. Now, the real knockout fighter of the year is none other than Terence Crawford.
Right. And
Pound for pound dog, pound for pound king, best fighter in the world.
Absolutely.
Most accomplished since 2017.
Right.
Without
It's
question.
really about the dominance of how he beats his fighters. So don't sit up there and say, oh, I don't know Felix Diaz, who's actually a gold medal winner at the Olympics.
Right.
Don't say you don't know Molina. Don't say you don't know all of these guys he fought. This dude is destroying everyone.
No question about that. And I think he's going to do amazing in the 147-pound division. So that's the Sweet Scientist Award Show, and that's the fight of the year, Terence Crawford. That's it for the wrap-up 2017. We gave you our 12 top moments. Yeah. I mean, there were plenty other moments that are great in boxing, but we only had time to give you 12 live here from Philippe Chow, world famous Philippe Chow in New York City.
And this is only a start. This is the start trying to show you where we're going to be, what we're going to do in 2018. We're going to be all over. We might be on your block next.
Anywhere. And we're eating chicken satays and sea bass while we're doing it.
And green stuff.
Yeah, all that fancy stuff. We didn't eat this only because we're saving it for the cameraman behind us. He's a pork lover. So, and that's that. It's your boy Ak
and Barack.
We're the Sweet Scientists on ThisIs50.com. And this show was a little bit inspired by Uncle Murder's wrap-up record that he does every year.
Absolutely.
So we gave you a little boxing version.
Where the DJ at? Play that song, DJ.
Run that. And there's your wrap-up show for 2017. We out of here.